back to know the self on the value and limits of self-knowledge. We are now embarking on part 2 of this course, in which our focus will be theories of the inconscious, as well as theories of the emotion. Today I want to focus primarily on Sigmund Freud and the psychoanalysis theory that be helped to develop and popularize. This is by no means an attempt to give a comprehensive discussion of psychoanalysis. So, Sigmund Freud is a psychologist who was trained as a physical scientist, primarily as a biologist. He did a lot of work on the neurobiology of fishes in the early part of his career. And the reading that I want to have associated with our discussion today is a book of his called Introductory Lectures of Psychoanalysis. When you read Freud, part of font I think you'll find understanding is what he has his own version of the Socratic method. Freud comes interestingly close and makes provocative methodology in the process, and that is you'll often find him making statements, making hypotheses, offering explanations of phenomena, stating his position. But then you'll see him say things like this: I can hear an objection everything from not because he's literally claiming to hear somebody making an objection, but tracing his imagining and interlocutor raising a worry about his point of view. He's imagining someone resisting what he's saying in a certain way, and then will come back and respond to that with his own counter-argument. This is a good method of argumentative writing and argumentative speaking for the reason that not only does it give you a chance to state your position and your reason for it. It also allows you to allay some of the skepticism, some of the doubts that an audience might have. So, it's an aspect of Freud methodology that is interesting and I think fairly successful. But there are epistemic peculiarities of that Freud refers to as psychoanalysis, and one to them is that, as he says, objective of verification for that theory. When asked how one whether that theory of true, his answer is this: well, one learned psychoanalysis on oneself by studying one's own personality. So this is not a methodology that would pass muster according to contemporary. So this is not a methodology that would pass muster according to contemporary theorizing. Furthermore, even of Freud's own teams, I want to suggest that this is that statement of his does not could fully respect his way of justifying his theory, and the reason is as follows. It seems to me in the background of some of his theorizing we'll see precisely how that works in a moment. In the background of some of this theorizing, there's a principle which it itself perfectly objective and allows theorizing to be put up to scrutiny that anybody can assess, and that is what philosophers of science have referred to as the principle of inference to the best explanation. Inference to the best explanation says the following. When we are confronted with a puzzling phenomenon or range of phenomena, adopt that hypothesis if there is one that best explains it. First of all, I know it's not always clear what counts as best of the best explanations. Sometimes explanations seems appealing, but they are not the best because, for example, they are complicated or perhaps because they don't cover fully with other things we already have established. All those qualifications in mind, we can still say that part of what Freud's methodology seems to presuppose is that when you got something puzzling, some aspect of human behavior, of example, that puzzling, you should look of the explanation that must directly, simply, effectively account for it, and we'll be asking ourselves whether the theories that Freud gives are consistently of that sort. If so, maybe he's justifying his position in an effective way.